Alongside Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price. Tennessee Football Media Day as fall camp begins tomorrow on Wednesday. And the news of the day, Boo Carter, Coach Heupel, non-committal, didn't call him suspended, just said that he's going to have to do some things before he's back around the team, but he's still around the team.
Yeah, I mean, I asked specifically to Josh Heupel, when would he practice? Will he be in team meetings? And he was non-committal about when we'll see him on the practice field. So we'll see if he's going to be there tomorrow or if he's not going to be there tomorrow. But he's clearly not just in town. He's in the building, right, Austin?
That's right. He was in the building today. He was out here at the 50-yard line right before we had media day, and he was out here kind of just chumming it up with some guys. And so he's around. And, again, I think the biggest thing is the path is there for him to be back. Coach Heupel said he's going to have to do some things to be fully back, and we'll see if Boo Carter can check off those things.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know, too, Josh Heupel reiterated multiple times in his press conference about the extensive conversations he had with his leadership council about the status of Boo Carter. And in talking to some people, those extensive conversations were lengthy. I mean, not 5 minutes, not 10 minutes. I mean, we're talking an hour plus of conversations regarding Boo Carter. So this was not anything that was taken lightly. This was not a quick decision. This was not just a Josh Heupel decision. There were a lot of people who had extensive conversations about what to do regarding Boo Carter. And as you said a week ago, there's a path for him to be back. That path still exists. The question now is, can Boo Carter do everything he needs to get to the end of that path and be a part of this team?
Got to talk to the quarterbacks today. It means a lot of media scrum around Joey Aguilar and Jake Barklinger, and a little bit around George McIntyre, who I still think just kind of lays in the weeds and has no pressure on him, right? I mean, like, he's not expected to win the job. He can just kind of go out there and kind of almost freewheel it a little bit and play mistake-free. I thought it was interesting. Joey Halsley mentioned a lot of times guys play not to lose instead of playing to win the quarterback competition.
Well, and that's why Hendon Hooker didn't win it in 21. And he noted that even back then about he was just too conservative with the ball. He wants to let him rip, wants it to play sort of on the edge, not reckless, but on the edge of those things. I thought the other interesting thing from Joey Halsley is about the maturity the young guys have to show in the competition, that, hey, we're grading everything. One of your teammates, one of your quarterbacks in the room might criticize the rep when you watch it on film. Even though you're competing against that guy, you got to learn from it. I think that's easier for Joey Aguilar to do because he's been in a quarterback competition before. He's been the backup who's ascended to the job. He has done it at multiple spots. I think it's a little harder for these young guys, for McIntyre, who's been the starter everywhere he's ever been, and the same for Merklinger, to go out and handle that stuff. So their maturity will be tested here, and that's something that Joey Halsley has referenced to his quarterbacks on multiple occasions.
As far as players we talked to, two things stand out. Jackson Moy continues to trim down weight, looks really fantastic. And then Ricky Gibson has put on weight. I mean, he's up from 163 a year ago to 184. That's a huge jump for a guy who the weight gain had been a problem for him.
Yeah, I mean, clearly a guy who's committed to his nutrition, I think has had a really good summer in that way. I'm not sure he was close to 184 in spring practice, much less what he played at 160-something last year. So, I think he understands where he's at and what he needs to do as he moves into year 3, which what do you call that?
Contract year.
Contract year. I think the other guy who stood out to me today is Andre Turrentine. And Andre Turrentine told me Jalen McCullough's last week on this campus, they had they hung out together the whole week. And Jalen McCullough talked to him about leading. Like, you got to take leadership reins in that room. And I think Andre Turrentine has really learned from that and is trying to be a leader. He knows he's got a challenge. He's got to lead Boo, and he talked to me a little bit about that. Like, hey, we trust Coach Heupel and everybody's on the same page there, but I've got to lead that whole group, including Boo Carter back there. So I think he understands his importance with a group of pretty young guys. And look, your two corners, if they're the two starting corners, Jamon McCoy is not a man of many words. Yep. Ricky Gibson's not a man of many words either. So
neither's Turrentine in a lot of ways.
Well, but he's much more vocal when you sit down and talk to him. I think he's gotten much more comfortable that way, and I think that's important for this young secondary.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about Turrentine, he can articulate it. He can talk, but he's not one that's going to engage the conversation. I think maybe that's where he has to be, because he's very capable of being a talker.
Right, and I think that's something he has worked on and has continued to push there because he understands he has to lead. And you heard Tim Banks talk about him today, basically saying he's the alpha male in the secondary. He's the guy we bounce things off of, and he's the guy who's a real bridge for the coaching staff to all the players in the secondary.
Tennessee will hit the practice field coming up on Wednesday morning. It'll be the first day of fall camp to round out the month of July. He is Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price for the 2-Minute Drill.